Welcome to Action Packed, where we look at action films from the past few decades. So, how do I end this year of action movie reviews? How about a film series that's exploding with the most intense scenes you'll ever see? I know! Of course! Mad Max! I want to say something before I begin. I'm only going to briefly talk about each installment, including that new film that everybody seems to be praising, so I won't talk into too much detail. If you want to know more, see the films yourself. With that said, let's begin by taking a look at the first installment in George Miller's Mad Max franchise. Mel Gibson plays Mad Max, a highway patrol officer. His character is greatly established when it begins with him pursuing a motorcycle gang and is being promoted as a top cop. We are also introduced to his family, which gives the film an emotional center. The plot begins with a motorcycle gang led by Toe Cutter, played by Hugh Keys Byrne, that causes a lot of trouble. It's there that Max goes toe-to-toe with Toe Cutter. Let's get the positives out of the way. The highlights in the film are the car chases, the suspense, and probably one of the best pair of eyes that grace the big screen. Seriously, I didn't even know a person could even do that. Even though this is a low-budget film, the car chases and the stunt work were really impressive, and at least for their time. Now, while I do think the first film is good, I have a couple of issues with it, but it's mostly because the plot was confusing at times and lacked focus. However, things would only get better after this, leading to Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. From what I understand, when the movie came out in the US, it was just called The Road Warrior. The first movie was not very well known at the time, only having a limited release, so it was right to change the title, so as not to confuse new viewers. Taking place after the original, the world running out of oil and has descended into chaos, we cut to Max trying to find some supplies, running into Gyro Captain in the process. He leads Max to a group of people who pump oil from underground. The oil seems to catch the eye of Lord Humongous and his gang. The crew asks Max to help move them in their oil supply to a different location, leading to an epic chase sequence that, you'll enjoy a lot. The camera work in this movie is impressive and shows highly in this film. From what I've started to notice is that the most of the time, Max rarely speaks, only having 16 lines in the entire movie, yet he still leaves a big impression. Overall, The Road Warrior is definitely better than the first movie and was the film to introduce many to the franchise and even turned Mel Gibson into a big star. Now let's get on to the most divisive film in the series, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. With a title like that, many would be expecting something amazing. Let's talk about the plot first. It begins with Max heading into a small town to look for his own stolen wagon. It's there he meets the town's leader, Auntie Entity, played by Tina Turner. Entity offers to resupply his vehicle if he comforts the engineer, Master Blaster, in a battle arena called Thunderdome. Tina Turner is one of the reasons why I'm not too big a fan of Beyond Thunderdome. Her performance was too over the top, and I thought her character was unnecessary and had no reason for being there. Just take her out and not much of the difference would be made. That's just me, of course. Another reason why I don't enjoy this movie as much as this movie changes tone in the second half, going for a more family-friendly route and compared to the previous installments. The second half of the film has Max encountering this tribe kids who want to find Tomorrowland. It's definitely not as good as the first two, but I do have to say a couple of positives. One is the actual Thunderdome fight in the first half. I find it kind of silly because they use baby bouncers and fight in a cage, but it's pretty epic fight. The other is the dialogue. It's the most quotable installment with memorable lines such as
Cool Run, Bartertown.
2 men injured, 1 man
Ain't we a pair? Raggedy Man.
I don't know why, but I seem to remember them the most. It seems as though everyone else does too. While I do enjoy the original trilogy, one common complaint I have with each installment is that every ending just didn't do it for me, and I felt that something was missing. So let's get into the most recent installment, Mad Max Fury Road. In 30 years since the last movie came out, many people assumed that it would just be a nostalgia trick, but boy were they 100% wrong. Not only is Fury Road one of the best movies of 2015, but it's probably one of the best movies ever made. The plot of the movie is Max helping a group of women led by Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron, cross a huge desert while being pursued by this god figure named Immortal Joe. Interestingly enough, the villain in the movie is played by the same guy who played Toe Cutter in the original. That's right, Toe Cutter is now Immortal Joe. The movie is a visual marvel and definitely shows. The entire film is all about the car chases and they're epic. There is so much effort put into the action scenes containing a lot of great stunt work. Not to mention, this movie used a lot of practical effects and only uses CG when it's completely necessary. That means whatever you see on screen was actually done in front of the camera. And yes, that even includes that flamethrower guitar held by that guy, which was ridiculously awesome. And what do you know, I was actually satisfied with the ending. Right after the last shot and the credits rolled, my heart stopped for a solid minute. It was such an amazing movie that I couldn't take it. It's definitely a good movie to see on the big screen. I watched it in 3D and it seems to be good viewing experience. I didn't see it in IMAX, but I heard it's amazing to see it that way. Well, what are you waiting for? Check these movies out right now. Well, this is the end of this year's Action Pack. I'm sorry that I couldn't review more films over the summer. There were a few more that I wanted to cover, but my tight schedule said otherwise. But hey, there's always next year. Black Belt Dragon signing off.